Indianapolis. This is Margie and Haley, and this is Addy Family Adventures. And we're here today in Indianapolis. We're kind of continuing on with our Underground Railroad, but where we're at, it's so much more history than just that. So come with us and let's go take a look. So the place we've come to see today is called the Slippery Noodle Inn. It is the oldest bar in Indiana that is still in its original establishment. It's gone through several name changes. It originally was called the Tremont House, and it started in 1850. So we're going to go in and we're going to take a look at this historic place. Alright, so once again, this is their menu, and as you can see, Indiana's oldest bar, and there's a lot of the history just on the menu. So they have subs, soup and salad, they have their snacks. Different kinds of sandwiches. Different kinds of dinners. Noodles. Alright, so our food's coming out. And Haley got, what did you get, Haley?
Beef and bacon nachos. House specialty.
The BLT with chips. Apple with BLT and chips.
Alright, so we had some audio problems, and during this time, what I'm going to is I'm going over towards the basement. And basically this is one of the reasons why we did come here, is that it was a way station for the Underground Railroad. So they would hide those escaping from slavery down in the basement. There were also tunnels, I was told, tunnels that would run to the train station. Now, not only was that, but at one time it was a bordello, and during Prohibition, they changed the bar into just a restaurant, and they still distilled beer and whiskey in the basement during this time. Now, it was a very popular place, and Dillinger and the Brady gang would hang out at this establishment here. So I'm just walking around showing a lot of what the restaurant looks like. It is heavily in blues. They've recorded actually blues albums here at the Slippery Noodle Inn. So, and there's where the band would play. And there is a front area that's an old bar stylish look. It's got a tin ceiling. And then back in the area that was back there, that goes into the back part. Now they said they could give us access, but they'd have to have a server go with us. And then when we asked another server, they said they only did that on the weekdays. So we weren't able to go back there. So this place is a very, very large place. Alright, so here we are, we're outside, and once again I said the Dillinger Brady gang actually hung out here. And what we're looking for is we're actually looking for maybe to find, because they said there's slugs still in the wall where they would go and do target practice. And we were unsuccessful for looking for these slugs. And it said the east wall, and at the time I had no idea which way was east. I believe it might be in the back, if I'm right. So we decided to walk around, and there's the Blues Brothers, and Of course, the Slippery Noodle Inn sign. And you're really going to get to see how big this building is as we're walking through. So once again, we're still just looking for these slugs. And we were for sure that they wouldn't be where there were windows. Now understand, this at one time was called the Tremont House back in the 1850s when it was open, and it was kind of a predecessor to the Holiday Inns. So it had a bar and restaurant, and then it also had places for people to stay in. So, and this is still all part of the Slippery Noodle Inn, which has been all created into a bar and restaurant, the whole entire thing. And we're walking around here and still looking for the slugs in the wall. I don't know if it was something that was done on the inside. We didn't see anything. But we are talking about how it is a good place to eat. We really enjoyed it. The price for the food was really good. It was no more expensive than eating like at a Cracker Barrel or at an Applebee's, and possibly the food may have been better. So Margie's about to trip here. Yep. So unsuccessfully, we haven't found the slugs in the wall. I'm sure they knew where they were. Also, the place was haunted because a murder did take place here when it was a bordello. 2 customers got into an argument. One of them stabbed the other one, and they actually left the bloody knife on the bar. But this place was just chock full of history. It was really something to see. And if you're ever in Indianapolis and you get the chance, I would suggest going to eat here at the Slippery Noodle.
What was it? The Underground Railroad.
Alright, so just a couple of other things I did miss a little bit. The server, she did talk about the place being haunted, and she had told us that she had been in the basement, and it was like she felt like there was another employee down there with her, and somebody had tossed gravel at her, just kind of playfully, and then she realized she was the only one down there. And then she also told us of another time that she was in the basement and someone had flipped the lights off on her, but there was no one around. So I mean, for those who are really into that stuff, this is probably a place to visit. I don't think you'll see any kind of activity. Unless you spend a lot of time in there. Of course, those who are employees, they do spend a lot of time there.
This isn't going to be part of the Underground Railroad.
So what I'm saying here is basically we came here because we wanted to we've actually have a series that we do just on areas in Indiana and Ohio that had to do with the Underground Railroad. But while we were there, of course, there was a lot more history. And even though this is going into that series, we are going to cover more of the history of the Slippery Noodle Inn, and we're going to go move on to something that has nothing to do with the Underground Railroad, but does have something to do with the history there at the Slippery Noodle Inn. And it's very interesting, and it was something I always wanted to do. They actually had a museum for the reason why I wanted to go here, and then they closed that museum down.
Alright, we are currently in, what was the name of this? Crown Hill Cemetery in Indianapolis. And we have located the grave of one John Dillinger, who was public enemy number 1 and was basically one of the first investigations of the FBI to stop this bank robber. He not only robbed banks, he also robbed police stations, and he was known as what would be a modern day Robin Hood. So, as this is going underneath our Underground Railroad series, as you can see, even when you're looking for some one certain kind of history, you'll run into other kind of history as well. So, but yes, this is where John Dillinger has been laid to rest. Now, I don't know how long he'll be here because the state's decided to exhume his body, and I don't know what for or why. I really didn't read into it. So, but yeah, so this is the relationship between him and the Slippery Noodle Inn that we went and visited. Alright, so that's going to end our video, and we're pretty much done here. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please give us a like, a subscribe, and comment. And if the mic is shaking, it's because it is freezing cold out here. It is February in Indiana. As for that, we'll catch you on the next adventure. And remember, adventure is out there.